Hi viewers, glad to meet you in the next video of Python tutorial series. In this video, we'll be discussing about JSON file formatting in Python. So let's get started. JSON is an open standard file format and it is a subset of JavaScript language. It is commonly used in JavaScript, but it is a language independent data format. It is very user readable and it is very easy for the machines to parse and generate data using JSON file format. So basically the data will be stored in attribute value pairs and it is stored with an extension of .json. This is one simple example where the data is in attribute value pairs. If you see, name is an attribute which has the value of Tommy, type is an attribute which has the value of dog, and age is an attribute which has the value of 30. Also, you can have the data in the form of arrays, number, string, and boolean, true or false, etc. So here the age is represented as a string as 30, but you can also have the data type of age as an integer. If you give without quotes, it will consider that as an integer. In this example, we have the data as nested. If you see, the overall JSON file is having the attribute of colors, and this attribute has an array of individual colors, and those individual colors are stored as a list. If you see, it is represented in square brackets. This is opening square bracket and this is a closing square bracket, and each has a dictionary, and it has attributes color black, category hue, type primary, and the code attribute has the values of RGBA and hex. So if you see, the first item in this list, colors, is representing the color black, and the second item represents the color white. The third item represents red. In the second item, which represents white, does not have the type specified. So it is not mandatory for you that you have to specify all the attributes in an item. So this is how the data is stored in JSON files. For accessing JSON files in Python, we need to import JSON library. So I have imported the JSON module. This is inbuilt. You can simply use the command import. So let me declare one sample JSON object. So this is one sample JSON object which we have just discussed in the slide. So I need to parse this JSON object into Python. I'm going to store this in a variable called JSON data. So basically we are parsing using the method json.loadas. You have to give the object inside. So I have parsed it. So if you want to access the JSON data, it is just like how you access any dictionary in Python. So I'm going to access the name attribute. This is just like we access any dictionary. So it is returning us the value of Tommy. I'm going to access age attribute. So it is returning us the value of 30. You can also convert your Python dictionary into a JSON object using json.dumps method. So for example, I'm going to write one dictionary in Python. second. So this is one Python dictionary, so it's a dictionary data type. So I'm going to convert this into a JSON format. I'm just naming it as JSON object 2 JSON.dump s. Yes, we have created one JSON object. So I am just going to see what is inside JSON object. So it has converted our dictionary into JSON object. So this sample JSON object 2, I'm going to write it as a JSON file. That I'm going to open one file object. So cat JSON as write mode. So I'm going to write this JSON object 2 in that JSON file. I have written it. Now I'm going to close the file. I have closed it. So let's see where is our file. So cat.json. Okay, here's our file created. I'm going to open it. So it has created in the form of JSON. So we have name Jimmy, type as cat. So what if the data is nested? So I'm going to create one new JSON object colors with the nested data, so which is example 2 of our slide. So I'm going to name it colors JSON object. So I have pasted it. So I am going to do the continuation character, which is backslash. Yes. So I have created one JSON object which is nested. So this is basically nothing but a string. So I have to pass it as a JSON. I'm going to use load as method. So I have passed the data now. So how to access this? So this data has an attribute of colors. That colors having different values. So first of all, we have to mention colors. So in that colors, I have to access the first item. So this colors has the value of lists. So I'm going to access the first item. So I'm giving 0. This is just like accessing any other list. And if you just execute this, it will return us the first item, which is black. This thing. So if you, in that particular item, if you further want to access the type, you can mention type here. So I'm expecting it to return me primary. Yes, it has returned as primary. So just like that, you can access data within data of the nested JSON object. So we have seen about load s and dump s. These two methods are for accessing the data which is in the form of strings. So if you want to access a file, you have to use load and dump methods. Apart from that, both will do the same operation. So for example, I'm going to create one new JSON file using dump method. So for that, I'm going to open one file, colors.json, in a write mode. So I'm going to dump the JSON data. For that, I'm going to use json.dump method to write this particular JSON object into this colors.json file. So I have the data in pipe.colors because I have already passed the data. So you have to give the data first and the file object in which you need to write the content. So yes, I have written the content. Now I'm going to close the file. So let's see what we have. So yes, we have the file created and we have 0, 1, 2. Yes, we have successfully written the data. Similarly, you can also extract the data from the JSON file using a load method. So I'm going to use open colors.json and this time in a read format. So json.load to load in red data, this variable red data of file f. Okay, I have read the data now. So yes, I have successfully read the data. Now I'm going to close the file. During the write, you can modify the format in which you write. You don't have to use always this colon and comma for separators. You can also use any special characters you want. So let me show you how to do that. And along with that, you can specify the indentation for readability purpose. So I have the data with me, red underscore data. I'm going to format it using dump s method. So colors formatter, so to json dot dump s of red data. So with an indent of 4. So I can specify the amount of space the indentation should be. So similarly, I'm going to use separators. I'm going to give dot and equal sign. So here in this separators parameter, the first item represents the separators of fields. In by default it is comma, and so the second item represents the separator of attribute and values. By default it is column. So we are going to replace both. We have formatted the data and loaded that into a variable in a JSON format in colors formatted. So let's see what is present inside colors formatted. Yes, so we have the indentation of 4 and the data is separated like the equal sign for attribute and values, similarly here, and the dot for separating the different items in this JSON file. Hey guys, thanks for watching the video. In the next video, we'll be discussing about string formatting in Python. So until then, see you. Have a great day.